Welcome back to the 5% Club. I'm Shayla King, a former C-suite executive turned business and life coach. And this is the podcast for leaders who want it all. The promotions, the paychecks, and luxurious amounts of time for the things that matter most. Each week, I'm going to teach you from my performance and happiness formula what it takes to rise to the top without burnout and overwhelm. Work less, make more, and design a life you love. That's what we do in the 5% Club. Let's go. Hey, Shayla here, jumping in real quick because if you're a woman in corporate making $150K or more and you're still waiting on a promotion that should have happened 2 years ago, this one's for you. I'm hosting a free live webinar called the Promotion Playbook, and I'm going to show you exactly why high-performing women get stuck in middle management and what it actually takes to get to the executive level and love your whole life. We're going to cover my performance and happiness formula, and you'll walk away with real strategies that you can use right away. I'm also opening enrollment for the Performance and Happiness Lab. So if you've been curious about what's inside, this is your chance to see it firsthand. Go to shaylaking.com to register now. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the 5% Club. I'm Shayla King, your favorite executive coach. And today is going to be a little bit different of an episode. We're going to cover a variety of topics. I'm going to give you a quick life update, let you know what's been going on in my mind and heart lately, and give you some useful tools if you're a leader, and let you know what's coming next. So let's jump on in. Okay, if you've been following me, you know I'm obsessed with the fact that I am building a pool in my backyard. It's more than a pool. We're doing like a little backyard oasis with a kitchen and living and bar and the whole thing. But it's really just a dream of mine. And I am so amazed at how productive the crew is. Like if they are here, an entire section is getting done that day. And it's so fun to watch because I'm obsessed with efficiency and productivity. And so we're going to be start to finish within 5 months, which is amazing for a pool. So we are almost there. And it's so cool to see your vision come to life for something. So that is something very exciting for me, as is my slow summer. I don't know if I've told you about this yet, but I'm going to have a slow summer this year where I'm going to work 2 days a week. So my daughter Ariana is going to be going into her senior year. Evan will be back from Baylor, and Alania is heading into her sophomore year. So for the first time in my life, I'm going to have a slow summer. I used to dream about this when I was in the corporate world. Like I wanted to keep my corporate job, but have a summer like teachers got. And I just thought that would be the perfect balance ever because I am a summer girly. And so this year, now that I own my own business, I am creating it with 2 days a week of work and 3 days a week of pleasure. So I'm going to have me Mondays where I'm all alone. And then every Friday, I'm going to have family Fridays where the girls and I either go to the gym or on a hike. And then afterwards we go to brunch and we just have luxurious amounts of time to spend together. So I'm excited and it's almost here. I'm going to actually test out the schedule in May so that by June it is ready to go. And then I just got back from New York City. I was there on a girls trip. We saw Chess and we saw Fear of 13. If you've not heard of Fear of 13 yet, it has a really famous actor, maybe Adrian Brody. Does that sound right in it? And it was the type of show where literally we were all leaning forward so much and so into it that when the actor got bad news, the whole crowd was like, oh, right? So fun. While in New York, walked across the Brooklyn Bridge, of course, went to some amazing restaurants and got bagels in the morning. And I just love the energy that you feel when you're in a big city. It's like anything can happen. And let me tell you, something did. So I was there for a girls trip, but I threw in one thing for the business. And while I was there, something very, very big happened for Evolve and the 5% Club. And I cannot wait to tell you about it, but not today. All right. So let's talk about what's been on my mind. You guys, I have been rolling with this in my head around what I want for you and how to put into words what the real gap is. And so I want to spend a little bit of time today just talking to you more about what you can have out of life and why we suffer unnecessarily. So I've talked to you before about the playbook, and the playbook tells us that's what everybody else wants for our lives. And it is both an individual's desire and also kind of if you think of like society at large, right? So there's a macro playbook and a micro playbook. And the one that your mom has for your life, the one that your neighbor and has for your life, the one that your in-law has for your life and your kids. Your boss has one for you, your in-laws have one for you. You have one for everybody in your life too on how they should and shouldn't be acting. And most of our frustration with other humans has to do with the fact that they're not following the playbook that we want for them. And we develop these playbooks because we think they're right, but also because we think that person will end up with a better life if they follow it. But then we try to force our version of the playbook onto them. You see where we get into the problem? And we don't want to be told what to do. And what do you know? Other people don't either. So we all have those micro playbooks, but then there's also this larger playbook and it tells us what to do. And this is what I talked about last week. If you didn't hear the episode, go back and listen to the episode that is on dual career families, because we have not updated our playbook or our systems since we have completely changed how we live. So at this point in time, 60% of families are dual career families. It's more than doubled since the 70s, and we have not changed anything. And so when I talk to you today about the playbook, I'm going to talk to you about the macro one. So the macro one tells us that wanting more is selfish, especially for women, right? I'm going to speak to women mostly today as I go through this, but everything that I do applies to men as well. And just in case you're wondering, I like to say powerhouse women and a few good men. And I actually get questioned on both of those. I had a consult the other day where the woman was like, well, I don't know if I'm your normal client because you say you work with really successful women. And so I actually went through with her and she had shared with me how much she earned. And so I let her know that she was in the top 5% of all women in the country and what she earned. So she on paper, 100% was successful. She just didn't see herself that way. Right. And so when I say powerhouse women, I mean women who have had success in their life that are in corporate America at a leadership level. That already is more successful than most women get to. And so don't count yourself out there. And then I say in a few good men. And when I work with men, it's often men that also have wives who work, because that is where the conundrum happens. That's where the rub happens, is when we're trying to win at work and at life. And that is my message to all of you, is that you can have both. You can have the career and the life, both performance and happiness. Both. And so what gets in the way is this outdated playbook that the world has for us that tells us that wanting more is selfish, that slowing down means you're falling behind, that if you're exhausted and overwhelmed, well, that's just the price of being a high achiever. And that's what we've been handed. That's the story most of us are living inside, even if you don't realize it. And so underneath it, one of the things that happens a lot is what we call good girl programming. And good girl programming, it's about how we should be perceived by others, how we should make life easier for others. It's always been about how we are to others rather than ourselves. So think about what you were told when you were growing up, by your parents, by school, by everyone around you. It was some version of be nice, be pretty, be disciplined, make other people comfortable, be helpful, be easy, be additive, be a support system. Don't cause trouble. Don't cause pain. Don't stir anything up. Don't make anything inconvenient for anyone. You see, it was always about how you could make someone else's life easier. It was never about you, because nobody was saying, you know what you should do? You should be happy. You should be bold. You can make other people uncomfortable. You should go after your dreams. You're not here to make other people's lives easier. You're here to live your own main character energy, right? So if you've been listening and you feel like you've been living small, I want you to know that more is possible for you. A real life, a designed life. Not someday, not when things calm down, not when it feels like it'll be more acceptable by others. I think a lot about what it would mean for each of you to stop shrinking and actually go build the life you want. to stop worrying if Jamie in the office thought you said that too harshly, or if Sue at the PTA thinks that you're not pulling your weight. What if instead you turned inwards and said, what do I actually want out of my one and only precious life? What do I actually want? So, whatever version of your life that you've been afraid to want, I want you to let yourself want it. I want you to get really specific about it because we're going to go get it. That's the 5% life, right? The women that I work with are not unfocused. They're not failing. They are following a set of rules that were never designed for them to actually get what they want. I want you to hear this. They were designed to keep them productive, compliant, and helpful to others. They were designed to keep them grateful for whatever they did receive. That's the programming. That is the playbook. And you cannot get out of it if you don't see it. So I want you to go back to that like visceral desire that lives inside of every single one of us. What do you want? What makes you feel alive? What makes you blow your own damn mind? What is the dream and your vision for this one precious life? That, my friends, is what we're going for. That's the 5% life. An epic life lived for you. Not a life where you measure yourself based on how much others think you are performing to their standards. Not a life where your worth is measured by how easy you are in someone else's story. Your life for you. There's like so many areas, and we can go deeper into other podcasts about this too, but there's so many areas where even when someone else is having a conversation, we think we need to moderate it to make sure both people feel okay. Like we can set all of that down. We don't have to be in charge of everyone else's feelings. We don't have to be in charge of making sure everyone else is comfortable. You can go inward. You can say, what do I want? What do I need right now? And they are responsible for themselves. We're all individual humans on this earth. We are all responsible for ourselves. All right. So once you see, right, so this programming has been around me my whole life. Everyone else's playbooks have been a pressure on me my entire life. And I don't want to opt into that shit anymore. I want to go after my own freaking life and my own dreams. So now it's like, okay, but how, Shayla, right? And this is where I'm going to talk briefly about it today and what's been rolling around in my head, and we can go deeper into any of this. I want you to also DM me on LinkedIn and let me know which areas specifically you're like, please talk more about this, and I'll jump right into it. But the next area is essentialism. And I think this gets misunderstood a lot. So it's been on my mind as well to make sure that I can actually explain what it means to me. So essentialism is the disciplined pursuit of doing less. But it's not about shrinking your ambition or pretending you don't want that career and that life. It's about being ruthlessly honest with yourself about what is actually yours. Not everything on your plate belongs there. Not every expectation you are carrying was one you consciously chose. And so this comes up a lot when people are talking about hustle culture. It's been in the news a lot recently. And someone's going to say, yeah, but Shayla, if you actually want to be successful, you have to hustle. And I want to firmly question that belief. Because what I found when I was hustling and overworking, when I was a workaholic and my health was failing, is that I was doing so much shit that I didn't need to do. I was doing work that was unimportant, work that was unnecessary, and work for the wrong reasons entirely. And here's what I think is the misunderstanding that I think about a lot. People confuse hustle with hard work. And people confuse hours with value. Let me say that again. People confuse hustle with hard work, and they confuse hours with value. Let's talk about why we overfill our days. What I do with myself and with my clients is we get really clear on where the value lies, and then we spend our time accordingly. And I ask my clients, like, what's the one thing you did this week that added the most value? And often it's something like a 20-minute phone call, or wrapping up one project, or having a clarity conversation with my team so that everyone knows what the next steps are. That's it. That was the highest valued thing, yet it took 20 minutes out of a week. but we let sand and gravel fill the rest of our days. And I think we do it for a few different reasons. Sometimes it makes us feel important. I fell into that trap a lot as a leader. Sometimes it's the expectation that society has set, and sometimes we do it to please others. I wanted to look like the hardest worker in the building. I wanted my boss to know it, my peers to know about it. I wanted everyone to know I would outwork them. And I think it's really important that we dissect that. So Will Smith has talked a lot about how, if he was on a treadmill at the gym and somebody came on after him, he would die before he let someone who got on after him outlast him. He has to outwork anyone. And I think we have to ask why. Because a lot of the examples we hold up in society that glamorize overwork are people who also sometimes are trying to avoid something else. Maybe in the past, they had free time and it led to destructive habits, alcoholism, drug addiction. So they threw themselves into work, and now that's a really a healthier outlet for them. But it also means it's unprocessed, right? Or we have some leaders that talk about hustle all the time and how necessary it is. And they, grew up with financial insecurity. And so they grew up poor and they never want to go back there. And so they push and push and push because it feels like they have control over their fate. It feels like that pushing means they won't go back. And I think we all have that in different ways. And we can think about, what is my why? And I had such a deep need to prove that I would overwork so that I could be taken seriously. And I thought the way that I added the most value was through effort. Just add more pressure, just do more. And so what I want you to think about when you're overworking is all of the layers underneath it. Because our companies will always ask more from us than what's reasonable. I want you to hear that. And they're not here to protect you. Emma Grede said recently that the company's job is not to protect your work-life balance. And I want to be really realistic with you that it is not their expectation and they're not going to do it. And you cannot sit here and wait on your happiness and your fulfillment for someone else to protect you. We got to do this ourselves. This is inner work, right? And so there's a few things to look at. One, some cultures expect it, and you've got to figure out if there's a way to work around that. And we do it by adding value in the areas that matter the most, and then having difficult, complicated conversations with our leaders to get that alignment that here's how we're focusing our time and why, and how they're going to get the most value out of that. And so that is one piece of it. Then we've got to see if that culture accepts that. Most of them do, right? So almost all of my clients freak out when I say we're going to do less and focus, and they worry they're not going to be seen as the helper anymore. I don't want you to be seen as the helper anymore. I want you to be seen as the strategic leader who delivers results, right? So that's okay. But normally they don't get the backlash that they expect when they start to say no. So there's that piece of it. It is the cultural component. And at the end of the day, if you set up some boundaries and say, I'm going to add all this value for your company and I'm going to do all these incredible things, and then you start doing that with some boundaries and they don't respect them and you're penalized for it, then that might not be the right environment for you. And we can have intellectually honest conversations around that, right? But we also have to look at, what are we doing ourselves? So you've heard the saying, wherever you go, you bring yourself with you. And so that piece is really important for us to take some time and uncover. So that's what I'd ask for you today, is just to say, when I overwork, what need of mine could I be trying to meet? Is it for financial security? Is it to feel important? Is it to avoid having time to think? As humans, what we do, and this is just the fun neuroscience behind it that we go through in coaching, is that almost everything we do is to have a feeling or avoid a feeling. And so these examples that I talked about with, I don't ever want to be broke again, so I'm going to keep hustling, or I, got into trouble when I was partying and doing bad stuff and I don't want to do that again. These are feelings we're trying to avoid. They're circumstances we're trying to avoid. And when we actually do the work, the internal work, when we learn how to be confident in ourselves and release those deeper fears, we stop overfunctioning. We stop working on things that don't matter for people who don't value it, just to feel busy or look capable, because we know that we're safe. We know what actually matters and what doesn't. We have enough security in ourselves to take the risk of letting something go. And one of the reasons that I think you can feel safer is when you have literal safety. And so I call it bulletproofing your career. And there's an old podcast episode that you can take a look at that's around FU money, FU relationships, and FU skill set. When you have that, if you lose your job, you can call somebody up and they can be like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're available. I don't have a role open right now, but Clark does. Let me call him right now for you, right? When you know that you have a competitive skill set, that you have money to last you while you go through your job search, and that you have a network of people who want to hire you and connect you, then you have a bulletproof career. And that's real confidence. I'm not talking about fake confidence and you're going to be screwed if something happens. You can't put yourself at risk like that. But sometimes you already have the FU money and you just won't let yourself know that. All FU money is you have enough money where worst case scenario, you could live off of it until you had enough reasonable amount of time to find something comparable. And once you know you have that, then you can let all that extra stress and pressure go. But often we have it and we just haven't done that assessment to be able to make ourselves feel safe. We haven't reminded ourselves that we're safe. We haven't dissected, why do I keep doing this? I change bosses and it still happens. Hell, I change roles in companies and it still happens. Maybe I'm part of the reason I'm over functioning. And so what I've found for myself and my clients is that when they release the extra stuff that they've been volunteering themselves for, they actually perform better on the things that move the needle. Their bosses notice, they get bigger bonuses and promotions because they have executive focus. They look clear instead of frantic, and they get done what matters and they let the rest go. That's executive essentialism. And it's one of the core things we work on inside the Performance and Happiness Lab. And it's one of the things that has changed my life. I mean, I went from hot mess, overworking mom to cool, calm executive that's going to work 2 days a week this summer. And I'm still going to get more done than most of my peers on the things that matter. So if you want a place to start right now, I love the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown. So pick that up. It is worth your time. I have read it 6 times in my life. All right. And I want to say something directly because I know some of you are hearing this and saying, but Shayla, if I do less, doesn't that mean I become less? Doesn't that mean I'm less successful? Absolutely not. This is not what I am saying at all. What I am saying is that we focus on what adds the most value and we build a life strategy around that. Now, if you have an ego, and I do, let's use it. If your ego says, I want to be the best, great, use it. Because here's the truth. I am the best at creating a life that I love, that allows me to be wildly successful and happy. I am winning at life. And so are all my 5%ers. So use your ego to remind yourself of how you're killing it. So let your brain hear it this way. This is not quitting. This is not giving up. This is not playing small. This is being expansive. This is adding more happiness, more ease, more robustness, more variety, more interest, more success, because you are finally focused on the things that actually matter. It's not weakness, my friends. This is not saying no to your dreams. This is being successful at the highest level. Performance and happiness. You get both. Career and life, both. All right. I spoke about resourcing a little bit in last week's episode on dual career families. If you've not listened to that one, you've got to go back. Every person that's a dual career family should listen. Forward it to your friends as well. And I have something coming up that's really exciting where we're going to do a resourcing workshop. So if you go to shaylaking.com, you'll see a little banner that you can sign up so that you get the invite for it. And I'm going to have my clients on there and we're going to talk about like real ways that senior leaders have resourced themselves to make their life easier. All right. All this brings me back to the same place it always does. Choose your 5%. And I just want to say this simply. It is possible to have the career and the life, both. The performance and the happiness, both. I have lived it. I coach women and men through it every single day. The path looks different for everyone, but the belief that it is possible has to come first. That is what this show is all about, and that is what we are building together. You guys, I want more for you. I genuinely, deeply want you to stop settling, not just in your career, but in your whole life. The friendships that fill you up, the health that lets you show up, the family time that actually feels like family time, and the work that challenges you and pays you what you are worth. The version of yourself that you are proud of. I do not want you to get to the end of this year and realize you gave everything to everyone else and kept nothing for yourself. You are allowed to want more. And I am here for all of it with you. All right, I'm going to give you one quick tip for leaders. This came up this week that I think will be helpful. And then we will close out with a quick update on what's next. All right, so this is something that you can actually use this week. And it came out of a conversation I had recently inside of the PH Lab with one of my clients. So I'm going to keep her anonymous, but I want to share this because I think a lot of you will recognize yourself in her. She's incredibly talented. She has been doing the work of someone 1 or 2 levels above her for a longer than she probably wants to admit. She knows she's ready for this promotion, and she's scared to go after it, even when she got tapped on the shoulder. Not because she doesn't think she deserves it, but because her brain has already played out every single way it could go wrong. She's pre-failing in her head before the interview has even happened. And here's the truth. That fear is not a signal to wait. The fear is a symptom. It's that good girl programming in a high stakes moment. It's your brain trying to protect you from rejection by keeping you from ever trying. And it will dress itself up in like very logical sounding reasons. I should wait until I have more experience. The timing isn't right. What if they say no and things get awkward? Or what if I have a higher chance of getting laid off in the new role? Your brain is very convincing. I heard recently that like really high performing leaders have high performing inner critics. So your brain actually comes up with even more valid excuses the higher level you are. That makes sense, right? It's kind of crazy. And so your brain is very convincing. Do not trust it alone on this one. Your job is not to guarantee the outcome. That's not within your control. But your job is to make the ask, position yourself strategically, and then let the conversation happen. That's it. And what I coached her on was that your brain's going to give you all the bad stuff. I've said this before, but if I give you 9 puppies and 1 rattlesnake, what are you going to focus on? Your brain's going to focus on the rattlesnake because it's the threat. And so naturally, your brain is going to focus on all the reasons why it might not work. And so what I had her do in coaching is to write all the reasons why it will. All the reasons why it could be amazing. And you know, one of the crazy reasons on why it could be amazing is if she fails and she learns how to love herself through that. If she goes big and puts herself in the process and doesn't get the role, she can show her kids what it looks like to be courageous and how you take care of yourself when things don't go your way and that they don't always go your way, but that you still go for it. And then, 10 reasons on why it's going to be amazing. And of course, she's going to get it. And of course, it's going to be easy. And of course, it's going to be expansive. And it's just one more step along her way to greatness. You have to direct your brain. The most successful and happiest people know how to manage their mind. And that means you don't just let it look at the rattlesnake. You stare at those cute little puppies, which, by the way, right now I'm obsessed with it's a Bernese Mountain Dog mixed with a poodle. And they have like micro ones, which I guess is then like a Bernedoodle mixed with another poodle. And then they're like little tiny perfection. I don't know if you guys have seen, do you guys have a mix? If anybody has a mix, like literally email me or DM me on LinkedIn and tell me about what kind of little mix you have. I know everybody has Labradoodles, but I'm interested in the Bernedoodle. If you have one, please tell me. Because I'm pretty sure I need one in my life. My only concern is their coat in Texas. But we have a pool. We don't keep them outside. I think it'll be fine. But would love your thoughts. Anyways, so think about those cute little puppies and direct your brain over to that side of it. It's so important. So if you're sitting with any kind of decision or a promotion conversation right now, here's what I want you to do this week. Write down the entire list of your concerns and then write equal amount of time for all of the ways that it could go right. All of the ways that you could blow your own damn mind with what's possible. All the ways that you could be wildly successful and fun and exciting. Okay? Direct your mind to spend the time thinking about how you will make it work, how you will make it fun and successful, and that everything can go your way. That's exactly the kind of work that we talk about inside of the lab. And I don't know if I've told you guys about this or not, but for years you have been asking me to do a course that's specific to the hiring process. And so I built this course. It's amazing. It's called Land the Role. And inside of it, we have the hiring room. And so once a month, you get to come in live with me and ask me any question that you're having as you're going through the hiring process, and I answer it for you. And so it's $2K to help you get your 200K role. You can check that out at shaylaking.com, and it takes you through the 5-step process. As you know, with me, it's going to give you the exact steps that you need and nothing else. So we lose all the fluff so that you can really save time. Because what I found is that some people are just so overwhelmed with what they already have on their plate that they don't even want to engage in looking for a role because it seems like it's just way too much, right? And so it's simplified and has AI prompts for every single section in there. It does the basic stuff like your LinkedIn and your resume, but more importantly, it takes you through how to create your leadership brand, how to show the value that you have, and be able to put the value examples in your resume, how to speak to them in the interview, and then how to conduct the interview successfully, how to speak concisely, and then how to negotiate the offer after you receive it. So it's a brand new program. It's extraordinary. I probably have forgot to tell you too much about it, and I should. But that is available for you. It's live now. It's all online on demand. You can get whatever section you need immediately. And then once a month, you get to come into the hiring room with me, and I will answer any question that you have as you are live going through the process. So check that out. And then for the first time ever, we're doing something really cool for the PH Lab. We're actually doing an early enrollment for the next PH Lab cohort with some really exciting bonuses. So the cohort is going to start in September after the summer because we all need luxurious amounts of time in the summer. But we're actually going to be enrolling now in May. And so here's what it looks like. You're going to get immediate access to the portal with all 12 modules covering results, relationships, rituals, and mindset. It's everything that you need to be a high-performing and happy executive. You can dive into the video trainings. You can actually watch recordings from past cohorts and go as deep as you want this summer. And if your summer is slammed, you're not behind at all if you don't touch a single thing before September. You can also just grab that one module that's the most relevant to you right now and start there. And then the other thing I designed with this pre-enrollment is that you also get the option to spread payments over six payments. So you'll pay over 6 months instead of paying all at once in the fall. So that's another bonus that comes with this May enrollment period. You'll get that pricing, and then you get a one-on-one session with me, which, as you know, my one-on-one coaching has been full for, like 18 months now. And so it's a really cool way of getting to talk to a chief people officer and to have eyes on your career, your happiness, and we develop a strategy together. So make sure you're on the wait list for that. If you have any questions too, you can always email us. Our email is support@evolve-career.com, and my team can answer any questions that you have there, or just DM me on LinkedIn. Happy to answer them. But that's kind of a really cool way that we can make it even more accessible and give you even more time with the material for our next cohort. So excited about that. All right. 2 other quick updates. I had my first celebrity guest on the podcast. So that will be coming out soon and is really exciting. And we're going to go deep on some of the good girl programming. We're going to get a little woo-woo and talk about parts work and the mother wounds and how hard it is to have real friendships as an adult. So we're going to go through all the things behind all the things, and I can't wait for you to hear it. And then second, get ready for a big New York City announcement. That's all I'm going to say for now. All right, friends, that's it for today. I'm heading out to the Dominican Republic. It's one of my favorite countries on the planet for a little anniversary trip. So I will see you soon. Bye. I started out waiting tables at IHOP. I became a chief people officer, an M&A executive. I negotiated 7-figure contracts and built teams from the inside and some of the most demanding organizations in the country. Single mom the whole time. And here's what I figured out somewhere in the middle of that climb. Working harder was never what moved me forward. I know women right now who are outworking everyone in the room, more capable than their manager, more capable than the men who just got the role she deserved. And they're stuck. Not because they're not good enough, because no one taught them that the executive level is a different game. It's not about proving yourself. It's about positioning yourself. I spent 20 years learning that from the inside, and I've spent the last several years teaching it. I'm hosting a free live training for women in corporate who are ready to stop waiting and start moving. You can register at the link below. Thanks for joining me in the 5% Club today. If you're ready to make more, work less, and design a life you love, then go to shaylaking.com and join the waitlist. You'll be the first to know when there's openings to work with me in one-on-one coaching or the Performance and Happiness Lab, my group container where you will learn to be a high-performing, highly paid executive who loves your whole life. I'll see you there.